I recommend getting a regular credit card with a revolving limit. So
Right.
you pay it down. And this is if you introductory in the space, I would run it that way. But as far as you being new in the space and everybody want the platinum, right?
Yeah.
But you got to understand, like,
Yeah.
that payment, Amex don't care how much money you made, how much you didn't make. In 30 days, that payment is due.
On that platinum.
On that platinum.
What's good, world? Welcome back to the Tuned In with Tony podcast. I'm with my guy, Dub Washington, today. And this guy is someone special, right? This guy is someone that I saw had a tagline that said he accumulated over $1 million in funding in just 24 months. And I was like, no way, that can't be possible. So I had to bring him to the show to ask the question of exactly how he did this. So welcome, Dub, to the show.
Man, appreciate you, brother, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, for sure. So you do credit card stacking, travel hacking, teaching people how to really maximize on their points and with their credit cards, correct?
Yes, sir.
So how exactly did you get into that? And just tell us a little bit about you so that we can understand, you know?
Got you, man. I came into the game during COVID 2020. You could call me a COVIDpreneur, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like what they label us as. And I came in the game, man, and I'm a person that dives deep into something once I get involved with it. So I seen what credit could do. I seen how it changed my life because 90% of businesses fail simply because they don't have access to capital.
Got you.
So I'm like, you know what? If I can get into this and it can tremendously change my life, listen, what better time to start than now?
Right. So what were you doing like before COVID hit?
Listen, man, before COVID hit, man, it's crazy. I was driving a forklift.
Mm-hmm.
I was a warehouse supervisor, driving
Yeah.
a forklift, unloading trucks, literally everything working in a warehouse. And I was steady listening to podcasts, and then I stumbled upon Him 500. I stumbled upon him on $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, and then the information that he was dropping in there, I had to put a face with the voice that I was hearing. I went back, sat at my desk, and I'm like, okay, this brother dropping game. And then I dived in with the $500 course. It was just enough to get your credit started, but you know how you do.
Mm-hmm.
If everything ain't worth $500, it's worth
Right.
way more. So I bought the course, and then once I tapped into the mentorship, life changing. I wish I had the text messages.
Yeah.
But whenever I was texting him, I was like, bro, can you hold the sale for $2,500 until I get my check on Friday?
That's crazy. And the reason why that's so powerful too is because I always like to tear down limiting beliefs, what people think. Like you said, hey, I'm a COVIDpreneur, right? The first thing people may say is, oh, I don't want to listen to him. He don't know anything. He got lucky,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what I love so much is that you were a regular person working everyday lifestyle. And then during that time, during the pandemic, you stumbled upon information and you executed on it. And a lot of people don't execute. They read it, but you literally executed, you reached out from it, and then you just learned the foundation. So now, did you lose your job during that time? Or like what happened that got you to really say like, I have to make this work?
I'm listening to David Shands every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I come into work at 6:30, 7 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hearing David Shands say, you're not going to get rich by working a job. And I'm
Yeah.
hearing everybody else's story on the morning meetup. And I'm like, this is where I want to be at.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I say, man, I literally locked in because I'm one of those people. Anytime I get involved with something, I'm all in on it. So I put all my energy into it, man. And it was about 3 months later, I would put my 2-week notice. And I'm like, there's no way that I can stay here listening to this and knowing, you know, the access to capital that a lot of these entrepreneurs have to scale their businesses, get to the next level. And I'm working a job. Nothing wrong with working a job, but you're limited by how many hours that you put in, and it's only so many hours in a day that you can work.
Had you even made $1 yet with the information before you took that leap?
I did. Well, actually, the day that I put my 2-week notice in, I launched my manufacturer spending ebook. So I made my first $10,000 in a day, bro, and it was.
Did you already have an audience though?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I was in different mentorships. So whenever I first came in, I went into credit card debt with my Navy Federal, $15,000.
Dang.
Yeah.
So you took the risk.
I took the risk, but I knew the information was there. So I'm like, you know what? Sometimes we got to spend money to put our back against the wall to make us really grind and go hard for it. So I got a $25,000 Navy Federal. I put $15,000 into mentors.
Yeah.
And then it took off from me from there, bro.
How many were you able to get with the 15?
I jumped in Recession Proof. I jumped in Herman's mentorship. I jumped in Bobby's mentorship.
Okay.
I jumped in Wall Street Trappers. He bought his course.
Yeah.
And like I said, from there, I orchestrated all of the gyms together, and then I went and started my community. So it happens a lot of times that people think that, just because you access information, as long as you are more well-versed in a 1, for example, some people want to get to 1 to a 3. Some people need to get from a 3 to a 5. So I'm like, okay, if I have access to this information, what about the people who don't know anything about this? I can teach them. And that's why I started with just teaching how to liquidate credit cards, manufacture spending, and that exploded into a whole financial literacy course.
That's crazy. And it's crazy because it's like, you know, my guy Will always says this is the other side of risk, right? He's always doing well, so he'll post it. But so many people, you know, and I think all of us in certain scenarios are always scared to take that risk, you know what I'm saying? But what made it somewhat of a safer risk, even though it still had risk, was at least it was on a credit card, right?
Exactly.
And you weren't using like your own money. And since you teach that, right, what are some of the ways for that people like who don't, they're like, I can't get a credit, right? Most people are scared of it, right? How do you kind of reshape their mindset to get them out of the fear monger of credit?
Great question. Great question. So credit is, I essentially label credit as a loaded gun. It can help you or it can hurt you. But before you do any of this, you must have the right mindset. Mindset play, and I know a lot of people talk about mindset. And it's one of those things where, oh, here we go. You're going to fluff me to death, right? But it's so important because like people that look like me and you, bro, if you put 100,000 in front of them, if you don't have the right mindset, you're gonna blow it every time. So it's all about your desire to want more out of life than what you already have access to. So the limited belief around credit is, like I say, use it to leverage it. You know what I'm saying? All the rich people are wealthy off of debt.
Yeah.
And when you would look at money differently, because money, cash, credit, all of it's the same, right? Depending on how you leverage it. So whenever you get a different mindset around it, you say, you know what, I can use this to elevate me and my family to go to the next level. Okay.
So a little bit later, we're going to talk about how you got that $1 million in funding in 24 months. But before we get there, let's just talk about, because I want to speak to the person that's probably watching this, right? When you were working that forklift job, what was the first step you took to even get yourself funded? Because I'm thinking of the guy who is like, I'm at this job, but I don't see the path out to really do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And you got wife and kids and all that, like that leap, you know what I'm saying? What was the first step?
The first step was actually getting access to the information. Because once you get the credit, you can't just have an 800 credit score and don't do anything with it. You're better off having a 500.
So let's talk about that right there. So a lot of people, like once they get the credit score, it becomes a trophy that sits on the shelf, right? And they're like, I don't want to apply for nothing. I don't want to get cars. I don't want to do anything because I just like opening Credit Karma and everything and seeing that score. So let's kind of just touch on that point where people get stuck on the vanity of the number.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Look at the equivalent of having an 800 credit score, the same as looking at the last year's championship winner. Like you can get the screenshot, you can post it, you can do all of that, but are you elevating? It's going to be a new season. What are you doing with the credit?
Right.
That's more so important than the actual credit score. And a lot of people get caught up on the credit score, and they may be looking at their Vantage score versus their FICO score. It's a big difference.
Is that kind of like what we see on Credit Karma?
Exactly. Credit Karma is good to see what accounts are showing, what's reporting on your actual credit report. But as far as a score, I would banks lend on FICO scores only.
Got you.
Many different versions of your FICO score.
So how do I check my FICO? Because I know everyone opens Credit Karma every day just to see updates, see what's going on. You know what I mean?
I recommend you can either get a subscription with my FICO. I use Experian simply because Experian is FICO based and it'll give you your actual FICO scores for the other two bureaus, which is TransUnion and Equifax. So I use Experian as well.
Okay, got you. And then like once you got started, and because I'm really still interested in this story, right? So then once you got the information and then you dropped it to your list, like how did you already have a list of people to be able to create that 10,000 from the ebook?
Whenever I purchased the mentorships, I went in and I provided value without asking for anything in exchange.
Like you were talking to their communities?
I was talking to in different communities.
Got
and I
you.
was giving the game away. I was giving my gift away for free. And I say everybody eats, right?
Yeah.
So I literally want to go in there and just exchange information with people who were operating on the same level with me. Because whenever I got this, you remember, my environment was still the same. I just had got access to new information.
Got you.
So I'm going back trying to tell my homeboys in the hood, like, bro, this credit can change your life.
Right.
They ain't want to hear that.
Right.
They like, bro, like, I hear what you're saying, but I got other things going on and I need money now. They ain't want to sit in a corner and wait, 60, 90 days to build the relationships and, take the time to rebuild their credit. So I jumped into these mentorships with like-minded individuals, and then I just started giving them game. Hey, this is how you turn credit to cash. This is how you manufacture spend. This is how you take, you use your credit card sign-up bonus to go on a free trip to Jamaica. And then when people were seeing that, like, oh, like, how do you do that? I'm just telling them to play. You know what I'm saying? Running the play over and over. And then I built out a small following from that. And then when people started asking, because I was literally, I left work and my wife would tell me, like, these people not paying you. I would just jump on the phone with people just to, just give them game without getting compensated for it.
Okay.
So that's how I started. And I built my
You were just
following.
nurturing and all of that.
I was excited to talk about it.
Yeah. So let's kind of pivot when you said you could actually sign up for a card and travel bonuses, all of that. Because I know travel hacking is big. So let's just touch on like how you get that sign up bonus and go somewhere. Because I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. Sign up bonuses are probably one of the most important things whenever you're actually getting a credit card outside of the limit that they give you, right? So if you don't understand the maximum sign up bonus or the highest welcome offer, you really shoot yourself in the foot by not knowing this information. Because say, for example, you grab an American Express Platinum, right? Right now, I'm seeing a high sub, which is a sign-up bonus. I'm seeing 190,000 membership reward points. Whenever I signed up for it, I only got 100,000 membership reward points. The difference of that is about $900.
Got you. I see what you're saying. Oh, so it's just all the perks and stuff.
It's all the perks that come with it. And like I said, just making sure that, because you can get a Capital One card, right? And I'm not saying get one because we're getting to the credit card stacking. But Capital One is going to pull multiple bureaus. Right. They're going to pull your TransUnion, your Experian, and your Equifax. Versus you taking that one card, you can go and get 3 other cards from 3 different issuers.
How? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the reason why I say that too is because a lot of times I hear about like, funding sequences and this is how you do that. But then it's like, how do you apply and be able to make that run without them all seeing your inquiries and everything? You know what I mean?
That's a great question, bro. We about to get real spicy.
Okay.
We about to get real spicy. So if you understand what CRA the credit card issuers are going to pull, TransUnion, Experian.
What's a CRA?
Consumer Reporting Agency.
Okay.
Yep, so that's TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. If you understand where they pull from, you can go on funding sequences and say, okay, if TransUnion is my higher score, I'm going to hit Navy Federal. I'm going to hit like somewhere like Langley. I'm going to hit Fifth Third. Those type of banks specifically pull from TransUnion. But then you have other banks like American Express, like PNC, Wells Fargo. They're going to pull from Experian. And then the banks like U.S. Bank, Synovus, and Truist, they're going to pull from Equifax. So I just gave you 9 different banks that pull from each different bureau. So if you go through on the funding sequence, you're only going to see 3 inquiries on your consumer reporting profile.
So there's a strategy to it to know which ones to do. Because let's just say, for instance, you got a negative mark on your TransUnion, right? Then what you should do is go look at who pulls from the other 2 and not even mess with the TransUnion. Exactly.
And while you're in the process of fixing one bureau, you can get funded from the other 2. And I have a method. This is a crazy method. It's 3-5-90. 3 to 5 banks every 90 days. This is how I secured over $1 million in funding. So remember, you don't want to open too many accounts because check systems. If you open check system is like, you know how you got TransUnion, Experian, Equifax for the credit reporting agencies. Check system is for your checking accounts. If you open too many checking accounts over a short period of time, what's going to happen is you're going to get flagged, and you can be denied for a checking account. So the 3-5-90 method is you develop 3 to 5 banking relationships every 90 days per bureau. At minimum, you've orchestrated over 33 or 34 banking relationships over the course of a 1 year span.
3-5-90.
3 to 5 banks every 90
What do you
days.
need to have before you come to them? Because let's just say, for instance, like there has to be some prerequisites, because if you don't have them, you may get really low limits. Right. So like, how do you prepare yourself when you enter that funding sequence?
So a lot of people are going to say 680 plus. But the lending climate has changed. You can't get the same type of funding that you could get during COVID. The deposit outflow of the banks, the deposit inflow of the banks, the overall asset growth, all of these things play a major factor in the economic times that we're in. So you having a 680, you're operating at the lowest level, right? You're just barely getting a requirement. So you could, even if you do get approved, you may get a low limit. I tell people 700 to 720 bare minimum.
Bare minimum,
because you want to beat the market. You must understand, like, if you play sports, you got to study the competition.
Right.
If I come in with a 680 and you come in with a 680, it's a lot of other underlying factors that could dictate who get the $20,000 limit, who gets a $5,000 limit. So I recommend, like I say, you coming in with a 700 to a 720, and then going for funding in that space.
Got you. So let's go back to who you were at the beginning. You got the forklift drivers, the people that are everyday workers. What's the initial step just to get right? You know what I'm saying? To get that 720, because let's just say someone's listening to you. I like